Okay, hi everybody. Last time we were with you, I was introducing Sue and she was showing you the chopped salad. 2 weeks ago, we talked about doing burritos. Today we're going to do the simplest recipe possible. I'm really good at making breakfasts, and my specialty is making great breakfast potatoes. So I want to talk about making great breakfast potatoes, and kind of like the burritos, I have a little special trick that really makes them the best breakfast potatoes possible. So first of all, I just want to say that you want to buy your potatoes at the store. You don't want to buy certainly not frozen potatoes or pre-packaged potatoes, but just buy a bag of potatoes. They're about $1 a pound, regardless whether they're russets or yellow potatoes or red potatoes. It doesn't matter what kind you buy, whatever kind you like is fine. These are red potatoes, about 1.5 pounds. These 6 potatoes, about 1.5 pounds, so it's about $1.50's worth of potatoes. And I have a couple of nice big cloves of garlic. So that's another $1, say. So we're talking about $2.50 to make breakfast potatoes for 2 people. The main trick is that you have to cook the potatoes any way you want to. You can bake them in an oven, prick them with a fork, bake them at 375 or so for 30 to 40 minutes. You can look it up on YouTube and figure out how long you want to cook them. You can boil them by putting them just in a pot of boiling water for a while. You can steam them. You can microwave them. You can put them in a toaster oven and do it that way. The bottom line is you just want to cook your potatoes, but I'm going to ask you to do it either the night before or several hours before your meal. And the reason for that is because the trick to making great breakfast potatoes is to start with them cold. So I have cooked these potatoes and put them in the refrigerator for overnight in my case. So they're nice and cold, and what that makes them is firm and also easy to cut, and they retain their shape and their firmness during the cooking process. Okay, well, I'm ready to cut the potatoes and the garlic. I just want to talk a little bit about how I cut these up for the greatest breakfast potatoes you'll ever have. This is the nice big clove of garlic. A lot of people like to use garlic presses. I like to chop my garlic, partly because I like to really taste the garlic. I love it. So I like bigger pieces, and when you do a garlic press, it tends to crush it up, and you get plenty of the flavor of the garlic, but you don't necessarily get the pieces of garlic itself. So I use a nice big knife so I can just kind of go over the garlic several times to make it small enough to add a lot of flavor and also to be still kind of chunky. So I do about like that with the garlic. And then with the potatoes, you can cut the potatoes any way you like, I guess, but what I do is I just cut the potato in half lengthwise like that. So you can see these are red potatoes. They have their red flavor. And then I cut it into quarters like that, and then I just slice off pieces. And you can kind of see here that these are baked potatoes, but they are really keeping their shape because of that, because they're cold. So I'll just do a couple of these potatoes, and then we'll put them in the pan. I just want to say really quickly, Sue mentioned to me that I should say something about the knife. So this is a cheap knife. You can get a knife like this at TJ Maxx or probably even Meijer for not very much money. And it's really worth it to have a good sharp knife and a big knife when you're doing any kind of cooking, really. So if you don't have a nice knife now, you should probably invest in that, or get your parents to invest in that, or somehow get a good one for yourself. Okay, so I have the oil on a nice medium-high heat, and it just covers the bottom of the pan, and I think that's about enough. So I'm going to put the garlic in first. You can hear it sizzling a little bit, and that's good. And as Sue mentioned during the burrito cooking, the garlic cooks quickly, so you don't want to overdo it too much. So keep it stirring and just let that oil cook it up nicely. And I'll mention while that's cooking that you can see that that 1.5 pounds of potatoes made quite a pile. So it's definitely a good serving for 2 people, maybe even 3, depending on how many potatoes you like to eat. Okay, I'm going to put a little salt in there while that's cooking up. I like to use coarse salt, but it's not imperative. And some pepper. And you're going to notice that with these breakfast potatoes, all I'm doing with seasoning is using garlic, salt, and pepper. And that is it. And they're going to be really good. All right, so these are going to continue to cook with the potatoes, so I just want to get them started. So we got the garlic cooking. It's a little sticky. And I'm going to now put the potatoes in. Here again, that it's a medium-high heat, so they're going to definitely heat up fairly quickly. They're already cooked, so all we're doing right now is cooking them through and cooking them in the oil so they get nice and crispy. All right, so the potatoes are in the pan, and then I'm just going to keep on stirring for a while, and we'll come back when they're closer to being finished. So besides stirring them up, you can also just kind of flatten them out in the pan, spread them out, and just let it brown for a little bit. All right, I think we're just about ready. If these were yellow potatoes, I think we'd really be seeing that char, but it's not quite visible here. But these potatoes are all done. The garlic looks good.
I wish you guys could smell it.
Smells great. I'm gonna put this in this bowl here. As I said before, it's a good amount of potatoes for sure, with 1.5 pounds.
Salsa, hot sauce, ketchup.
And you can use these in burritos, of course. You can have them alongside of eggs and sausage if you want. We do a tofu scramble, which maybe we'll do some other time. But these are the breakfast potatoes.